It's time for health tips. Now here's your host, Dr. Alma Jenkins.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Alma Jenkins. Thank you so much for watching, and this is Health Tips. We are so thrilled to come into your home on Saturday nights, and I do appreciate every time you give me your time. I consider it a privilege to come into your homes on Saturday nights, and we certainly try to give you something that you can take away and take better care of yourself. All right? And before we get started too much, let me just remind you that we're willing to come to your home, not your home, but your organization, come to your church, and give a health talk. I usually have handouts for you, and I'd like to talk to your group. You know, we get a lot of satisfaction in going into organizations and talking about health matters. Because if you will go away from those meetings and tell other people, it's well worth it. All right? And then remember that we talked about any recipe that you have, a healthy recipe, one that you heard on the show and you've tweaked it, you want to send that in to us and let us try it, we might invite you to come on the show and show us what you've done with it. So we welcome your recipes, and whether it's one you've tweaked that we've done already, or whether it's a totally new one that you found or you made up that's healthy and that tastes good. Don't forget the taste good part. Because one of the things about healthy eating is if it doesn't taste good, people aren't going to do it. Okay, so we want healthy, tasty recipes. And we'd welcome one from you. And if it's really that, if it's really good and people like it, we may include it if we do a publication. I say if. We plan to get the publication out. But we may want to use your recipe in there with your permission, of course. And so, send it in to us. You never know how far it's going to go. And then you'll help someone too. Because if you can help us spread healthy, tasty eating, you've done a service. All right? Okay, so what are we going to do tonight? Tonight, we're going to do something called roasted Brussels sprouts with maple syrup and pecans. Now that sounds out there, right? But it looked good, and we're going to try it together, okay? So this was submitted in a magazine called Thrive by a registered dietitian by the name of Matthew Cady, K-A-D-Y. So I want to give credit to Mr. Cady and thank him so much for submitting that to the Thrive magazine. I happened to see it, and we're using it on the show. Thank you very much. All right, so let's get started. What do we have tonight? We have Brussels sprouts. Now, I've already gone and done some of this for you. I went ahead and halved the Brussels sprouts. They cook better this way. So let's put these in the dish. We have some Brussels sprouts. For those of you who haven't tried Brussels sprouts, you gotta try it. They're like little cabbages. They taste delicious. And then here are the grapes. They've been halved. So I know you said, well, who's going to take time to halve some grapes? But I did. It didn't take long, especially if you use a really sharp knife. One of them didn't get that way, so see? It's pretty quick, actually. Put that in there together, okay? Now what we're going to do is combine the other ingredients, which are a tablespoon of olive oil, a tablespoon of maple syrup. Now, I'm a stickler for using what you have. Didn't have any maple syrup, but it did have some syrup, but it calls for maple syrup. Okay, little bit more, like a tablespoon and a fourth. Okay. And then some salt and pepper, which we'll put on there in a little bit. All right. So we'll put that to the side there. And then it also calls for some pecans. or as some people say in the South, pecans. So we're going to lay the pecans on this baking dish here. Okay? And we're going to go ahead and toss this mixture into here, like so. We're going to get another fork, actually, a spoon out of the drawer there. I'm going to get a spoon. My producer's going to give it to me. He's so helpful. I tell you, everybody should have a Spencer. Okay. Alrighty. And then we're going to just stir this all up together here. Sort of stir it up together. Make sure it's stirred up good. Now we're going to put a little pepper in it. Okay. And a little salt. I actually have sea salt. And I put some there. Now, try not to put a lot, because it grinds it real fine. Okay. Now you can always kind of taste it. See what you think. Okay. I'm spreading this out so it can bake nicely. Look at that. I've got Brussels sprouts, I've got grapes, and I've got the pecans over here. And I don't have anything over the pecans. Okay? Now I'm going to pop this in the oven. And you're going to let it stay in there until these kind of brown and your grapes shrivel. It's going to be about 20-25 minutes. But I'm going to look there in between time, because I could have put this on a separate dish. If these start to get too done, I'll take these out, okay? But in the interest of just trying to get it all done quickly, I put them together, okay? So I'm going to now pop this in the oven, and we're going to exercise. And with television minutes, in about 20-25 minutes, we'll take this out, depending on how it looks. And we will have a nice, tasty salad, if you will, okay? So, here goes. All right, let's see. Okay, are you ready? I wanted to see what time it was so we could kind of time ourselves. So, at about 20 minutes, we'll check it again, okay? All right, so let's get some cans out. How many of you tuned in last Saturday? Do you remember what we did last Saturday? Now, let me tell you something. That is one of the best tasting salads I've ever made on the show. And that's saying a lot, because, you know, we've made a lot of salads. But that dressing was so delicious. You have got to make it. I mean, we used garlic, red wine vinegar, olive oil, light mayonnaise, and the minced garlic, and we put that all together. And then we didn't put any salt in it. And then we ended up putting that over the salad, and we had some sauteed chicken. I used chicken breast, and I just sauteed that, didn't put any salt or pepper on it, just sauteed it. I added some mushrooms because I like mushrooms. Once you do that, you put it in the refrigerator and let it chill while you're making up the, getting your dressing all ready. And you might let it chill for like 10 minutes, and then you bring it out, and then you do your salad, put whatever you want in the salad. I had a plain salad, it didn't even have any tomatoes in it, but the tomatoes and if you want to put some of those peppers in it that make salads taste so well, so good, I think you would love that. And then you just put that dressing on top of it and some croutons. You have got a meal. And it's not that kind of meal that makes you so sleepy that you can't function. You could have that meal, I call that a power lunch. And if you're trying to lose weight, you could even have that for dinner. And something to drink, and you're good to go. And it's filling, but it's not stuffing, okay? All right, so let's do some exercise. 1, 2, ready, and 1 and 2. So this is mostly an exercise night because, you know, what I put in the oven, it's doing all the work right now because it's got to cook, okay? It's got to roast, in other words. So we're roasting it and it's got to roast, okay? And that includes the pecans. Now, the recipe calls for you to put the pecans in a skillet, overheat, and let them brown that way. But you know, let's see what happens with them in the oven because they'll roast in there as well. And if you're as busy as I am, the one step you can save is wonderful. All right? And 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 5, 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10, let's do 20, and 11, and 12, and 13, and 14, and 15, 2, 3, 4, and stretch your legs and go 1, 2, 3, 4. This feels good. 5, 6. Smile while you're doing it. Do you know what a privilege it is to be able to do this? You know, it's a blessing. Let me tell you something. When you wake up in the morning and you know what day it is, you know who you are, nobody has to come and remind you. You know, I used to hear older people say this, you know, you wake up in your right mind. I used to laugh. Why are they saying that? I mean, why wouldn't you wake up in your right mind? That's the way you think when you're younger. But as you get older, you know, you can appreciate waking up in your right mind. So don't take it for granted, okay? Because there's a lot of not only dementia out there, but a lot of mental illness as well. And we need to be empathetic and compassionate with those who do suffer from these problems, okay? But they're still blessed because there are other things that they don't suffer from. So we have to see the positive in everything. And that's healthy too, okay? Positive thinking is healthy for you. So those of you who are always fearing the worst, you're always thinking about what could happen, try and train yourself to play a different tape in your head, okay? Play a different tape because no matter what you're going through, there's a bright side to it somewhere. So let's practice looking at life that way. And are you doing this with me? Are you moving with me? And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, one more, and 10, 2, 3, 4. Okay, very good. Now let's stop and take a deep breath. One more. And out. Now for those of you, this is summer. For those of you, while the food is cooking, let me just say a few things to you that come to mind. Those of you who are planning on going to the beach and having fun, I hope that you saw our segment we've had on about beach safety. Okay, some of you like to bury people in the sand, you know, let them get down in a kind of a hole and cover them up. You know, that can be very dangerous actually. And we discourage that here on the show. We were taught that when we did the beach safety session because we found out that there are people who have actually died when they were buried down like that. Things caved in on them and they weren't able to breathe well. So they kind of caution against, I know you see it on television and it looks fun, where the person's only their head is up and all of that. But as it turns out, they don't advise people to do that on the beach. And also, be careful going out. Now, there have been some reports of shark sightings in at least one of the North Carolina beaches. So you want to be on the lookout. And I understand some people even saw them close to the shore. So you want to be on the lookout when you're at the beach. Parents, you're going to watch your children very carefully. And if you hear that there have been some shark sightings, just don't plan on going way out there in the water if that's been what's been put out there. And then too, make sure you're going where the lifeguards are, so that at least you have a chance if the lifeguards are out there to kind of try to help save you if something happens. Remember, when you go to the ocean and you're there, you're in the natural habitat of sharks and other animals. This is their home. You're the one invading their space. So you got to really have a heavy respect for these animals, these creatures. And if you're going to go to the beach, I would say at this point, with what we've been hearing, try to stay a little bit closer to the shore, at least until you find out what's going on at that beach in terms of shark sightings and that. I know I've gone to beaches and I've seen people way out in the water. I mean, way, you could hardly see them out there in the water. And they're, just swimming. They're no other protective gear. They're just swimming and they're way out there. But you're out there in the habitat of animals that live there and creatures that are way more powerful than you are. So just remember that and be safe. Just be safe. And if you're out in the open and it starts to thunder and lightning start, get to cover. Go in. Don't try to wait it out or stay out there because, every year people die from thunder, from getting struck by lightning, or they're severely injured. They think they can just stay out there. So do keep these kinds of things in mind. I just wanted to remind you of that. All right. And the second thing I want to say to you, those of you going to the beach, take your sunblock lotion and put that all over you. This is for all races, not just whites, but blacks as well. And not whether you're light skinned or dark skinned, put your sunblock lotion on, okay, to protect yourself, because all races are vulnerable to skin cancer, okay? So put it on your children, and if they're going to be out there for long periods of time, put it on again, just refresh it on them. Some people do it about every hour. So if you're going to stay out there, put on the sunblock lotion, okay? So I hope you'll remember these things, and I hope that you'll be safe this summer. We'd love to hear from you. Remember that we do want to hear about recipes that you've done, especially healthy, good tasting recipes. Okay, now what we have tonight, we have in the oven Brussels sprouts, grapes, and pecans, and we've have that in a mixture of olive oil and syrup, preferably maple syrup. Okay, and we're going to take that out soon, and we'll have kind of a salad that was submitted by a registered dietitian by the name of Matthew Kady, K-A-D-Y, and it was submitted in the magazine called Thrive. So we want to give credit where credit is due. Okay? All right, so can we do some more exercise? Okay, so go and get your cans. If you don't have them, take a minute, go in the kitchen. I know you have some cans. I know everything you buy isn't exactly fresh. Some of you have some cans, might be cans of milk, might be, I don't know what, but you probably have some cans in there. Each one of these cans is 15 ounces that I'm lifting now. All right? 1, 2, ready, and 1, and 2, 3. You can tell I enjoy this, can you? Because I really do, okay? And you got to keep it moving. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to keep it moving. If you're a couch potato, okay, you're going to lose some energy and you may get deconditioned, what we call deconditioned, because you're not using it. First Lady Michelle Obama was right. You got to keep moving. And the older you get, the more you got to move, okay? And let me tell you this too, those of you who are approaching 60, you're over 50 anyhow, you need to be lifting some weight, not heavy necessarily, but keeping your bones strong. Because as we get older, our bones tend to get a little thin. So you want to keep those bones strong. So do some lifting, okay? This will do you well as you get older because you become less at risk for fractures. And many of you have relatives who've fallen and broken their hip. A hip fracture is a major problem generally. I mean, we see it a lot and it's taken care of, but the recovery time and depending on the overall health of the individual, a hip fracture can be a real downturn in your health. So let's do all we can to avoid having any higher a risk of fracture than we have to have, okay? So lifting is gonna help build your bones. What else helps build your bones? Calcium, of course. And you can get calcium not just from milk, you can get calcium from broccoli. You know, broccoli has calcium as well. So let's become more conscious of that as we get older. When and as you get older, there are other considerations you have to have. You know, you have to do a little bit more in-depth planning, okay? Instead of last minute stuff like you used to do when you were younger because you had more energy to do it. But as you get older, you need to plan a little bit more so that you're not having to be so rushed, because the more rushed you get, the more stressful that can be as you get older. And that's something you don't think about. You know, you don't think about that. You just kind of do like you've been doing, but what you'll find is that you're tireder if you do that. But when you plan and when you know, try to consider the fact that you kind of slow down a little bit as you get older, then you'll do things a little differently. So this exercise that we do, and I try and make fun of it because it is fun, really, but we do it because we want to last as long as we can. And if you're exercising, you're helping build your bones, you're helping keep your mind active so that, you know, we want to stave off dementia as much as we can, you know. So that's the situation, okay? All right, so who knows why that's happening, but I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. I thought it was off, and I do apologize. But we're going to do some more exercises now, and I want you to do this with me because I know that you are probably sitting on the couch watching me and enjoying it, but you're not participating. It's only fun if you participate with me, okay? I can't see through the camera, but I can just imagine that you are just sitting on that couch and watching me. So let's do some more exercise. 1, 2, ready, and 1. And I'm doing the same one. Now you might hear some bones popping. And 1, and 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6, 7, and 8, and 9, and 10. 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6, 7, and 8, and 9, and 10. 2, 3, 4. And let's move our legs a little bit. And let's just stretch and stretch and stretch. We're getting a little pull back up here. All righty. So let's not have that. Okay. All righty. So we won't do that. That rubs and makes a loud noise. I'm sorry. 1, 2, ready. Let's put our hands on our hips. Okay. And we can't go from side to side. Let's go front and back and see how that does. 1, 2. That's stretching those stomach muscles. How many of you need to get rid of some stomach? Okay. Now you can really feel this. Okay. Is that okay? All right. So let's do 10 of these. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6, 7, and 8, and 9, and 10. Oh boy. And here we have it. We've taken it out of the oven. Now let me just tell you something. These pecans, I have to tell you, I had a mishap with them. And I'm telling you so you won't make the same mistake I made. I said, oh gee, I'm in a hurry. Let me just put it on broil and get those done really quickly. And when I did, the pecans burned. So I took them out and I put a second bit of pecans here and put them in a separate bowl, and I roasted those and I put them in here like this. So I don't want you to think that it came out better than it did, because I roasted these separately and then I added it here. So that's what you see here now, okay? You know honesty is the best policy, right? Okay. Okay, so let's just put this together. We don't have long. Oh, we are pushed for time. We are pushed for time, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. And we're gonna put this together here, and let's just stir it up. It looks wonderful, don't you think? Now to taste, I didn't put much, put a little bit of salt and pepper in it. Here we go. 1, 2, go. You know that's good? It really is. I want you to try that. Tell me what you think. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Alma Jenkins. Good night.
What happened, babe? What?
Oh my God.
What happened?
I put it on, I wouldn't want in a hurry. And I said, well, I'm gonna go and put it on broil. That did it.
Oh,
They were fine till I put it on broil.
And you forgot about it.
No, but I should have looked at it. Well, I forgot that when you put stuff on broil, you have to pull it out in like a few minutes.